Right, well this is a slightly different video. We've had a couple of questions from the exhibition as basically how we did what we did. I guess the first thing was the pylons. Now these are just made out of Tassie oak with a 9mm MDF top to them. The angles here were all cut using a drop saw, very finely, put on the angle, dropped it out and through, and obviously cut one side then the other, then you go back over here to one side then the final. So you've sort of got to work your way around it. This is available at Bunnings. It's about 32mm by 65, yeah. So, and then they fit in the location, so you can see how they look in the final. Obviously, this is further down in there. This is one that didn't make the layout. Obviously, it was the first attempt at putting the wiring through. So the end result is what you see there. The board joins are all done with obviously had a hole in the centre like this. We just ended up using one of the banana plugs, and then you can just pop them out and pop them back in, so there's no wiring issues there. So the next problem that was encountered, we've got a fair bit of discussions about, and they weren't actually done at the time, but a lot of the AHGXs were done, and that's how I faded and weathered. So here's an example of what I use to weather. Now again, I've grabbed these from Bunnings. These are cheap and nasty wide brush that you can get in their craft section, not a big deal. And then you've got these different colours from Humbrol. So I'm not sure if you can see there. These are just their matte colours, matte 34, matte 25 I believe, yep, and 101. So you just mix them up as you see, and you need obviously a photograph of what you're looking at, and you get this sort of aqua colour. And you cut it with turpentine, mineral turpentine. It comes out really fine. And you just wash over it. So here's an example here. This is untouched. It's AHGX untouched. This is an AHGX just with the wash on it. And see those? You end up with a little bit of brush strokes, which are okay. You just need to have that difference across the roof because they fade exactly the same way. So you end up with this sort of streaky effect. And if you've diluted it enough with the mineral turpentine, you get this sort of washed chalky effect. And then here's one here which has had the whole Magilla on it, and you put the rust spots on it, and again they're just paint and then chalks and stuff like that. I'm off and on with chalks. I mean, it's a lot of effort for little sort of results when you can sort of spray or vice versa. And more to that point, here are the AHGXs. So I managed to do an entire train in about 2 days sort of thing, and they weren't full days, they were just afternoons watching a bit of YouTube or something like that. And this is an untouched, so this fella here is just as it is, no big deal. This one here is just, it's had the wash on it. You get that bluey effect to it. Oops. And then this one here just has a grime wash. Now over here you'll see I've made up some grimes, and this is probably one of my favourite grime colours. And this is 98. I think it works out to be chocolate. And this fella here, this is 86 or 66. So 66. So, and then you've always got to add a bit of red, so make sure you add some red, and there's some, obviously if you make it too bright, you need some matte black and stuff like that. You're happy to go in and out of these, and it'll produce some sort of colour there. Again, dilute it, and you can't wash one over the other straight away. You've got to let this sort of colour dry, and then go to this sort of version of that colour. So you can see the difference here in the colours. See how it sort of pretty much dulls it right down, and I've left some spots over there which you can almost see the original collar of the wagon come through. So that's 2 washes. That's 1 wash of that, and then another wash of that type of colour, which will give you this sort of look, okay? And you don't want it even. You want to let the wash do its job, find all of the nooks and crannies, and let it do its job. So, and there's another one here which I've used some chalks on, and it gives you that sort of top level grime effect, which I'll probably just do with a spray gun a little later. Now on the A&R type wagons, I just used the grime wash, and as you can see also on the ends, you've got to give a little bit more grime on the flat surfaces. So on this side here, again, grime wash, all good to go. And it's really not that difficult. You've just got to work at it, and just do them in batches. I find it's easy to do all these in batches. And the final one is, you'll see over here, as I used a little bit of a colour, and these are almost a skin tone. It's that's 61 and 29. 29 is pretty good for the, the rust type of effect. A little bit of red gives you this sort of a colour, and it's good enough for a bit of rust on the wheel sets. You can see there's one there, so just highlight that little fella. Okay, and then the end result is you end up with these 3 colours here all the way through. Okay, so hopefully that'll explain how I do that sort of thing. And there's close up of the wagons as you can get them. You've got to make that uneven. You really have to try to wash with the big brush. You get an uneven effect and let it do its job. So the other thing you can do is with a cotton bud, you can wash any part that you've made a mistake on, say the yellow or something like that. You can get that back just by using a cotton bud and some more pure unadulterated turpentine. Okay, alright, well that's it for the moment. We'll just watch the trail end of this fella go, and hopefully that was informative. Thank you.